I'm here today. I have a business that's not been established terribly long, since 2012, and it is a moving and packing business, which is traditionally a men's business. And I opened it in Rehoboth Beach, and we have become, according to customers and the feedback that I have received, the highest rated moving company in the state. I don't know how that happened. I'm not very able to be on the internet and do a lot of marketing, but apparently, these things had to take on a life of their own and out there in the internet world. So with the reviews that we get and some of the few places that I do advertise, we have grown considerably in just a short amount of time. I am on the moves, mostly every move up until this point. We are going through a transition period where I am trying to train other women to take my place so that I could actually be in my office and attend to things that are the structure of the business. My moving company itself does a great job. I have a very good staff that have been with me for a long time. And so in that, we are finally firm, and everybody's well-trained, can do their job, and they don't need me as much as they did originally. Originally, the idea of having a woman own a moving company and then actually be on the moves, and I actually used to move the furniture as well when I was new and had to watch the budget. I would actually move furniture, but I don't do that anymore. We do have mainly men who move the furniture. I would be very open to a woman moving furniture if one should apply. So if anyone knows a woman who'd like, some exercise every day, and it is quite a bit of exercise, I would be open to hiring an actual woman mover. Right now, most of my business is in the Rehoboth area. Originally, though, while trying to break into the moving business, I was traveling up to Wilmington area every day, 7 days a week, which was quite an undertaking. I would have to be in the truck at 6 o'clock in the morning with all my supplies and head up to Wilmington and then drive home every night. It was a challenge, but it's what started our business, and that's where most of the moves were happening during the downturn of the real estate market. There's a lot more apartments there and people who move every year. So I changed a little bit of my marketing and was able to break into the Rehoboth area, which has quite a few small moving companies that are already well established and have been around for a number of years. One thing that they really didn't offer was a packing service, and that is something that my company does even for other companies in our area today. They'll call me in, and they'll have a move that they've already established with a customer, and I won't go try to steal their move. I'll just go in and do their pack job for them. So there's a number of movers that I work very well with side by side, and they do long distance moves that I don't do. So we have a referral system that's working pretty well. And if I were in a real deep crunch, my truck breaks down, or I need a mover, I can call them and they will help me. So they've been very good in that regard, and I do appreciate the support from the other movers in the area. The difference between myself, though, and the other movers in the area is the care that we take with a customer's furniture. And in the Rehoboth area, you have very many multi-million-dollar homes. They might even be second homes, but their furnishings are generally much higher end than standard furnishings that you're going to find in a regular 2,000 square foot house that, has mom, dad, and 2 kids. So we deal with grand pianos. We deal with statues that are worth $40,000 or more. We deal with some items that are so large that they take quite some engineering to get in or out of a home. So we have risen to the challenge of some of the very, I would say most challenging conditions with moving in the area, and that's probably one of our key features, is that we can do things that other movers really cannot do. And we offer as high of an end service as we can to a customer. We take very seriously the value of their furnishings, the condition of their furnishings, and we're very strict about wrapping every single item and taking care of their fragiles. So all in all, it works out very well. The team they had come with some experience in other areas, and I came with no experience in other areas. I came with the experience of a customer and how I would want my own items treated, and I wasn't seeing that happening. So it took a great deal of convincing for the men who had worked for many other companies that there was a real need to be careful, that there was a need to not make their decision about what was important to someone. It could be simply, the craft item that your kid made in kindergarten. But it wasn't up to them to judge that. It was up to them to treat every, piece of furnishing with the respect that it needed. And so they have learned, and it was a process, and I think they originally I think they originally just needed a job. Basically, they just needed a job, and it was a challenge to find men who could work on the job with a woman in charge. That was a big challenge, certainly in a men's industry, and personally myself having basically no experience whatsoever. So, like I said, my experience was only as a customer, and I tried to be an advocate for the customer. So I do put myself between, let's say, my customer and my staff, so that any requests that I hear from my customers, any important things that I hear while we're talking and preparing for their move, that I make sure it's prepared for with my staff, and whether they believe it's important or they don't believe it's important, they've been instructed. So every day is a challenge getting out the door. That would be the biggest challenge for the business every day. We work 7 days a week. We're on the road always by about 8:30. My men, for the most part, travel from the Dover area to come down to work for me, which is a pretty big commitment from them. There's quite a few moving companies that they could work for instead, and they travel an hour every day to come and work for me, and then an hour home every night. So I find that pretty impressive that they, after joining the team, have decided that it's worth that every single day. I accomplish that in a couple of ways. I try to be a very good boss, and I hope that I can, grow the business in a way that profits all of us as a team. I am certainly interested in getting any referrals that you might have. I'm not a very big advertiser. I don't go out and speak about my company. I'm not somebody trying to make a name for myself. It just had to happen out of necessity. I needed work, and I have grown a really good business. So, thank you.
Great, thank you. Are there any questions or comments for Mary?
Hi, Mary.
Hi.
You sound like you're very high end as far as the type of work you do. How are you as far as pricing's concerned with your competitors?
Well, I don't actually compare my price with competitors terribly often. I didn't really price my service according to what the industry standards are. However, I do have two brothers who are movers in Michigan, so the whole idea wasn't totally foreign to me. But when I did tell my brother in a conversation how much my rates were, I think they were just about comparable to his, and his was for a major mover. Major movers are definitely more high priced than my service. I think from the amount of business that I've received, I would say that my prices compare probably right around the same pricing that a customer would get from any other small mover in the area.
Since you're working so closely with other moving companies in the area, I would imagine that they'd have to be. But just because of all this extra stuff you're doing, I was just curious.
Well, it's definitely, when I started the business, I took a couple key phrases from other successful organizations like value-added services. What can we add that's not being given to customers? And with a woman involved, what would I want as some of those value-added services? Now, I have not been able to concentrate fully on those value-added services. I do offer them. I don't stress them at this point, probably because of success so quickly. It's move, move, move. And all of the things that I hope for the business still, I need to actually be in my office and get some actual work done to market those kinds of things. So.
Any other?
How many employees do you have?
10.
10, and how many trucks?
I own 2 trucks and I lease another. So I'm running 3 to 4 crews every day. Some of them don't actually need a truck for some of our services. So I sometimes have another crew out that doesn't, like if they're doing packing.
Okay.
A truck can drop off materials and then be on the way to a job. So
Okay.
yesterday I had 4 crew out.
Right. What are the value-added pieces you mentioned?
Well, when you're moving a home, I was in real estate till the downturn, and here in Rehoboth area, and moving is the final piece, or not quite the final piece, to a real estate transaction. There's, when you move out, the house is left kind of in a disarray, so we have cleaning. Value added, we do last minute packing. We can come in and do staging. We work with a couple of realtors to do staging. We do downsizing with folks who mostly are seniors moving into a smaller type of home. Although in our area, I see a lot of seniors doing upsizing. So we do take items to the thrift store for people if they want. We actually will take stuff to the dump. It's not my favorite item to do, but we will take things to the dump for someone. And we do work with a number of hoarders. So just like you see on TV, hoarders, we've not gone in and had to deal with any serious garbage issue, health concern issues, but we will go in and send staff in to help someone sort out and organize their life. We'll do closet organizing. We do unpacks where we set up someone's kitchen or even decorate their home, hang curtains, those kinds of things, hang pictures, mirrors. So in that regard, most of the movers in the area kind of come in, put your stuff on a truck, and take it to your new house. And I don't even know how it actually gets there well, but so we do offer lots of different other services.
Hi. You answered a little bit of my question. I was wondering, excuse me, what your background was. So Were you a realtor at one time?
Well, I moved here 15 years ago from Vermont. When I was up in Vermont, I worked with nonprofits and I was an executive director, mostly in the community action regard. We did have a small business development, micro business development under that umbrella. So I was familiar a little bit with business plans and business startups.
That's what I was going to ask you. How did you even conceive this? I mean, how did you get your financing? Did
I had
you
no
start out with a
financing.
business plan?
I started out with $6.99. For real. I had left a long-term relationship and had mortgages to pay, kids in college, and $6.99, but my bills were paid. I had been volunteering at a thrift store I was just going to volunteer, and they suddenly needed a manager, and so I was managing that as a volunteer for a while, and they had a moving company. And I did meet someone, and it was, okay, there's no money, what are we going to do? And so I opened a moving company with $6.99. There's not a lot that you need to open a moving company. In this state, all you need is a business license. You don't have any other special licensing, okay? So you can do business just with the license. So that was $90. So actually $96.99. Then I bought cardstock to put through my printer to make business cards. And that company was not in my name. So when there was a split, I was left with nothing but the bills. I had purchased trucks, I had leased property, I had advertising to pay for, all not for my company. And so I had to, in a moment's notice, start a company for myself. And so that's what I did. And I did not have any working capital. I didn't take out any loans. I did. I took out a loan for my first truck, and then I took out a loan for my second truck. And so I was able to have trucks for every day, and that was probably pretty key, not to have to rent them every day. And then, as you'd get a job, you'd take the $20 that you could scrape out of that paycheck and say, what can I do with this $20 that's going to maximize the use of $20? And that would be, okay, I'm going to put a small ad in one of the small print, publications, a newspaper. So I put an ad in the newspaper, and I got another job, and I took $20 more, and I said, what can I do with this? And that's the way I grew my business. I grew at $20 at a time, $6.99 at a time. I just looked at that money and said, what can I do with this little bit that I've got that will grow some money? So it really was with absolutely no money, but lots of debt at that point when a woman's touch moving and packing went online. And my company, the very first month, outpaced a company that I had been doing the work for 3 years, but never arranging a job, never talking to the customer, never any of that. My company in the very first month outgrossed them the first month, and they were a 3-year business. So since then, that has tripled, and now it's quite challenging to be in business for yourself, although I don't think I'd rather do anything else than be in business for myself. There are lots of other businesses I want to start, and I have to take that $20 again and do it. So.
It sounds like you're pretty busy at the moment. What are your plans for the future?
Plans for the future. Well, quite honestly, I plan to grow the business in a couple of directions that are customer-based for the need that helps fill out that value-added service. There's some services that the customers request that I don't currently offer, and I'd like to focus in the future in those areas. I do want to purchase the property I'm leasing so that I can do that service dependably. I don't really want to keep investing in somebody else's success, so I need to purchase that property probably in the next 6 months so that it's already commercial property and can do the other portions that I want to do. There would be areas that I'm more interested in, let's just say. I have a moving company out of necessity, but I do have other interests, so that would be related. So.
Mayor, what can we do as a community to support you and help you grow?
Well, obviously, word of mouth and good word of mouth is always the best referrals. You could, if you're going to move, you can let me do the job for you. I'm sure we'll do a great job. But as well, really, the area that my business is lacking currently is the whole office paperwork, accounting. In the future, I might want to sell my business, so I need to prepare myself for what does somebody who wants to purchase my property and my business need, so that I can get that in order now. Okay, so that would be some knowledge. I need a good accountant. I need to probably work on a business plan. Yes, I probably know a little bit about how to do it, but I really need it to be successful, and so that I can purchase the property. So those would be some things. Really the nuts and bolts of a business, the actual financial end of it. My company brings in tons of money. I don't get to keep a whole lot of it right now. So I really like to focus on things that are office related, that you actually just sit down to a computer and you do your pricing and your budgeting and those sorts of things. So those are the nuts and bolts. You know, we function great and we do a great job every day, but it probably would be a lot better if we had some of those pieces in place.